This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast. Hello.
Hi.
Faison is an awesome person. Yeah. Cesar is awesome. Cesar is awesome. Yeah.
Is that Faison's new
Faison is
theme
awesome.
song?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you doing the
Cesar
Lego
is
movie?
awesome. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Faison is great.
Everything is
Faison
cool
is-
when you're hypnotizing.
Everything is
What are
cool
we
when you're
doing?
hypnotizing. I give
Faison is
people
awesome.
to my house, and I'm awesome, and I'm friendly. I send people presents because I'm César Faison.
Wow, I didn't know there's a musical introduction this week.
Hi, audience. How are you doing today?
I made our daughter a theme song the other day when she was leaving the car to go to work, and she goes, "Don't give me a theme song." I was so mad.
Well,
But I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and she goes, "Don't give me a theme song either." I'm like, okay. Amanda, do you want a theme song?
No, thank you. I'm okay with that.
All right. Anyway, welcome to the Port Charles 411. It is part 3 of César Faison. This is 1999 through at some point in 2000. And I honestly don't know if I was really watching at this point. I think that we talked about this. There'll be something in here that gets brought up. This is kind of very similar to part 2, where we go very, very high level on certain things because we've already done full 411s on other pieces of this. So like the Ice Princess is mentioned, Lucky's death is mentioned. We are not going into all of that again, but we have to still touch on Lucky because that is a huge part of Faison's comeback during this time. So we'll pick up today in 1999. Faison has come back he's in Switzerland under Air Craig, which I don't understand because there was now 2 Mr. Craigs.
Mm-hmm.
We really need to be keeping track of this double name
Right.
411.
They need to be a little more creative.
So he was posing as a jewelry broker and thief connected to Luke Spencer through dealings involving the Ice Princess diamond. Luke had heard of Faison because of his role in the presumed deaths of Robert and Anna years earlier. So they were they had come back at this point, but then they were gone. But he had never seen a photograph of Faison and did not realize that the man he was negotiating with was the same enemy who had once blown up Robert's boat. So they meet up and Luke is laying out his diamond cutting tools and removes the Ice Princess and chips off a piece before meeting his fence. The fence is Faison using the name Mr. Craig. Luke insists that he is there for cash and that his time is limited. Faison examines the diamond and confirms its authenticity and agrees to a deal. In a later negotiation, Luke asks for 10% above their last transaction. Faison agrees and suggests that profit more if Luke sold him the mother stone. Luke refuses, saying the stone has sentimental value. Faison asks to see it, but Luke declines. After paying Luke in cash, Faison says he looks forward to their next transaction, and Luke indicates the money will hold him for a while and prepares to leave. César Faison is revealed to be alive.
yes.
He drinks champagne with a companion, celebrating what he calls his greatest triumph. When she asks what that was, he refuses to say, telling her that only the best is yet to come. She asks about Robert Scorpio, and Faison states that Robert and his wife are dead, killed in a magnificent explosion that the world believes took all 3 of them. I find it hard to believe that he would think that Anna's death would be magnificent.
Right.
He didn't say the death was like magnificent. He said it was a magnificent explosion. See,
Which
you
resulted
don't
in a
have
death.
to say he wasn't. Here's what he was saying. He wasn't saying, "Oh, it was magnificent that it exploded." There's no other way to describe. It was a horrendous. It was a magnificent explosion. He never said it was magnificent that they died. See, he's showing some. He's just explaining what he saw.
Okay. Then at Luke's club, Luke drinks alone to Robert on the 7th anniversary of his death. Lucky interrupts him, and this was Jonathan Jackson, right?
I think so.
Because Jacob Young is who was being held captive. Or was it the other? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonathan Jackson, yep. Lucky interrupts him, and Luke recounts how he and Robert first met, their earlier hostility, the Ice Princess pursuit, and their work involving the WSB. You know, that's one thing they didn't really have a lot of in Luke's. They did have Robert in it, but they didn't have.
Maybe they were trying to not memorialize the other people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they didn't have Bobby either.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think they were trying to focus just on Luke.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Like now I'm just thinking of that. Their early hostility, the Ice Princess pursuit, and their work involving the WSB. Luke explains that an old enemy, César Faison, kidnapped Anna Devane and that Robert chased them. Rather than surrender Anna, Faison allegedly blew up the boat, killing all three. After Lucky leaves, Luke raises another drink and tells Robert that Lucky is a good son. And then this is where basically we get into that Lucky was killed in his apartment fire, which we talked all about in Lucky's 411. Fast forward a few months. Lucky is revealed to be alive, and he was trying to pick the lock and was pounding on the door, demanding that his captor show himself. Later, the security cam view widens to reveal someone watching Lucky on multiple monitors. Oh my gosh, it's almost like the way that we're having someone watch Anna recently.
Crazy.
The cell door opens and the captor is revealed. César Faison. Lucky is shocked. Okay, so
how did Lucky know? Yeah, how did Lucky know that's who that was?
Because if Luke didn't know who César was when he was working with him and then tells Lucky about Faison killing Robert and Anna, I mean, Lucky was very techie that back then maybe he looked up online and saw who Faison was.
Maybe.
But I don't remember him doing that.
Why would Faison be online?
Because it was 1999.
So
like newspaper
what
yeah, like there could have been a picture of him.
I was gonna say there's not
like a news article. Yeah, not like Facebook. Just a
there
news
wasn't
article.
Facebook and MySpace and didn't exist yet.
AIM
did.
Friend requesting.
AOL did.
That's what I said. Instant messaging did. Huh?
Faison's screen name would have been
I Am Awesome.
Crazy for Anna.
Wait a minute. That's what it was? Or did you say, wait a minute, what?
I'm just guessing. What would Faison's AOL screen name have been? Hello, Anna.
It would have been what was his fake name? I don't remember from the last discussion.
You say Sinclair.
PK Sinclair.
It'd be like, Sinclair PK. You know, people used to put their last name first.
Right.
Remember that? Yeah.
One of Erica's friends' screen name was Ice Princess.
That's funny.
And her
Viva
birthday.
la Cesar. Yeah. Viva la Cesar. Viva la Faison.
Okay.
That's what it would have been. Yeah.
Okay. So Cesar's revealed. Lucky's shocked. Faison introduces himself and tells Lucky that death can be an illusion. So JD, remember, at this point, Lucky is presumed dead to the rest of Port Charles. We only just found out that he just was alive.
Yeah.
His was, and now Lucky's is too. Faison says Lucky missed his own memorial service, which was heartbreaking and tasteful. Lucky refuses to believe it and insists that his parents must be pretending while they search for him. But Faison describes the details that make it stick: burned body beyond recognition, a dental match, and a DNA match. He tells Lucky it took a lot of work to switch medical records, but it was gratifying. Faison points at Lucky and says he's dead as Faison ever was. Ooh, so that could also prove that Faison could change the DNA of Nathan.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Did I just hear you say that correctly? That Faison is dead?
Yes.
It's saying Faison is dead
here.
Okay. Yeah.
He is presumed dead to most everyone except for whoever that woman was that was at the beginning. Because remember, Luke doesn't know what he looks like, so he doesn't know that he was working with Faison.
You see, this isn't the first time he's faked his death.
Correct.
Yeah. All right.
This is now
just remember
third,
that.
the second or the third. Because I think in the first part he faked his death and then came back, all in the first part.
Yeah.
So so this would have been the second. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's not unheard of that he faked his death again in present day. I'm just making my case in court here. That's all.
Okay.
So gathering evidence.
It is reasonable to assume beyond a shadow of a doubt that Faison is able to fake his death.
Yes. Yeah.
Accurately.
I'm just getting supporting evidence. That's all.
Yes. He even switched brains.
It wasn't his brain.
What if it's actually Nathan's brain? What if Nathan actually is dead? And that's Nathan's brain on the jar.
What if? Nope.
I've been saying it's not his brain.
Okay.
So.
Lucky says that everyone will think it was arson, but Faison says he started the fire by taking advantage of Lucky leaving candles unattended, and that the arson report clearly blamed the candles. And JD, Elizabeth gave Lucky the candles, and so she felt really, really guilty for Lucky's death.
Okay.
When Faison mentions Elizabeth, Lucky lunges at him, and Faison restrains him, calling him impulsive just like his father. Faison then tells Lucky he has been doing business with Luke for quite some time. Luke sells him diamonds, and he even referred to Luke as a tobacconist. A tobacconist?
Sure.
Yeah, I've actually never heard that word before. I think that's it.
For the special cigar... Tobacconist?
Tobacconist, yeah.
Okay. For the special cigar blend that Luke has been smoking, while Luke suspects nothing. Faison shows Lucky footage of Liz at the church before the memorial service and calls it heartbreaking, then makes the threat clear. It would be even sadder if someone so young and full of potential were snuffed out because Lucky refused to cooperate. Elsewhere, someone continues watching Lucky through security cameras as he tries to hack into the internet from his cell, and the hand turns off the monitor. Faison later gives Lucky an unsettling, detailed account of Luke and Laura's grief, including the moment when Luke started throwing Lucky's belongings out the window, and warns Lucky to be careful or he will never get out alive.
Luke sits alone at the club when the phone rings, and it's Faison using the Air Craig identity. Again, tries to buy some more diamonds. Luke refuses to do business and hangs up, but he eventually changes his mind and asks a phone.
Makes.
Okay.
I saw X. I saw X.
Like we didn't have Siri then. He could not have been like, "Hey Siri, call Air Craig."
You never know.
he aches a phone call. Yeah.
My mind instantly went to he's trying to use Siri. Anyway, he eventually changes his mind and makes a phone call to Eric Craig about a possible business deal. Faison in his control room is pleased to hear from Luke. As he hangs up, he watches Lucky on the monitors, laughs at his attempt to reprogram the door, and says he never imagined the Spencers could be so entertaining. In Lucky's cell, he finally breaks the code on the door and steps into the hall with his coat, ready to run. But Faison stops him. Faison praises his work and tells him he has no travel plans. He mockingly suggests Lucky try to get past the guard with the stun gun. He then says that even if Lucky makes it back to Port Charles, he won't be able to find Elizabeth. Lucky retreats back into the room. Faison tells him teenagers are all the same and says Lucky should have kept up with technology because he is being watched 24 hours a day. When Lucky says he checked for cameras, Faison tells him to remember that when he tries his escape plan B. Faison then makes the consequence explicit. He pulls out a cell phone and asks someone to locate Elizabeth Weber. Lucky erupts, demanding he leave Elizabeth alone. Faison claims he thought Lucky would enjoy another glimpse, then makes Lucky watch a screen showing Kelly's. Liz arrives with Nicholas, and Faison comments on how lovely she is. He then has a man bump into Liz outside, pointing at how easily that stranger could have carried a knife or gun, and tells Lucky to imagine Liz dead on the ground if Lucky tries to escape again. Faison continues the demonstration by showing Liz and Nicholas on surveillance as Liz talks about how hard it has been at the diner because Lucky is everywhere in her memories. Lucky doubts the footage is live, so Faison proves it by sending a man to ask for directions, letting Lucky choose where. Lucky says the PCPD, and they watch and listen as the man asks Liz and Nicholas for directions to the police station. Faison uses it to underline that he can reach Liz at any moment and brings up Liz's past assault as an implied threat. Lucky is enraged, warns Faison, then collapses onto the bed, flashing back to Liz. Are you going to tell us how wonderful Faison is here, JD?
No, I don't think so.
Silence, exactly.
Okay, so...
Nope. In Lucky's captivity, he tries to...
Wait a minute. He's trying... he's keeping an eye on everybody, which means he's worried about them, okay?
Oh, okay.
So,
Liz was a teenager. Liz was a teenager.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So Faison made a mistake. I'll give him that one. He's not a good person here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
You also did not change your mind when he killed his mother.
How do we know his mother wasn't mean to him growing up? How do we know his mother didn't beat him or whip him or anything like that? There's no backstory on his mom. It could have been like, what if his mom?
That's not self-defense.
Okay, hold on.
Years later,
No, listen to me now. Okay, hold on. What if his mom was like Mama Fratelli? Okay, and that's why Cezanne is the way he is. Mama Fratelli was horrible to one out of the three kids. All right, chaining them up, beating them, slapping them, not feeding them, and that could be why. What did Amanda say? He killed his mom.
So what you're saying is Faison's a Goonie because Goonies never die?
I never said he was no. Okay, and then also think of the parents in Pete's Dragon that Pete is running from at the beginning. They were horrible to him. So how do we know his okay, anyway, I could go on. I could waffle on about that for the next hour, but we're not going to do that. But hey, Amanda asked. So
I was asking about him taunting the death of a teenage girl. That's what I was asking.
But it's not his
about.
fault. Yeah. If he had a horrible childhood from his mom, and that's why he is the way he is.
For everything. Okay.
Soap opera world, yes. I don't know.
In Lucky's captivity, he tries to conceal a diagram he's drawn, but Faison reminds him he can't hide anything. Faison challenges him to chess. What is with these people on chess? Faison challenges him to chess, offering to answer one question truthfully for every match Lucky wins. Lucky resists, saying chess isn't his game, but Faison insists if Lucky wants information, he has to play. Faison wins again, and when he leaves, Lucky uses the computer to learn how to play chess.
See, he's even wants to play a game with someone.
So is that going to connect Sidwell to Faison even more? Because Sidwell played chess.
They are brothers. They played chess with each other growing up.
All right. I would go with that one.
Wait a minute. Serious question here. You said Sidwell. Do I just not remember who that is?
He's new. He's on right character.
Now. Yeah.
He's on presently?
Yes.
Or is this from... Okay.
He's
on presently.
He held Lucky captive whenever Lucky first came back, and that was part of the letting Lucky go, was if he would play chess with him and win, then he could ask questions and get closer to being released.
All right. I just thought I missed something, that's all.
Yeah, no, it's newer. Sorry. Faison continues tightening his grip. He gives Lucky a photo of Liz outside Kelly's to prove she is still under surveillance and brings him a chessboard, repeating the rule. One truthful answer for every game Lucky wins. Lucky daydreams about Liz and tells her in his mind to move on because he can't find a way to be with her. Later, he looks at the picture and cries. Faison watches Lucky practicing chess on the monitor and narrates his moves, telling him to use his head. Lucky erupts, sweeping pieces to the floor and throwing a chair. Faison comments on the rashness of youth, saying it's frustrating to watch, but he also suggests he knew she would be joining him if he was patient enough, as an elderly hand with a large ring caresses his shoulder. Ew. Faison watches Lucky on a monitor. A woman's voice warns him not to underestimate Lucky and reminds him Lucky's father is an excellent strategist, and the camera reveals the woman is Helena. Helena criticizes Faison for spoiling Lucky with special food and says she doesn't want to rush her plan for Lucky. It's clear Faison doesn't know everything, and Helena seems pleased that she holds control over him, touching his hair and fingers as she talks. Faison is on the phone checking on Lucky and then pulls out files labeled Malcolm Scorpio, Robin Scorpio, and Felicia Scorpio. He runs his fingers over Felicia's image in a photo of Mac, Felicia, and Maxie, then opens Mac's file with a photo, a personality description, and a newspaper article. Helena arrives with diamonds, and they agree the diamonds will keep Luke occupied as long as they need.
All right, hold on. Not to be dumb, but Maxie has been on that long?
Yeah.
Is this the Maxie, the one that just came out of a coma? Or was it a coma? Okay.
Yep.
I didn't think she was, this is what, 99?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think she was been on that long.
She's been on since she was a kid. She received a heart transplant. Oh my God, dude, that story is sad. She received a heart transplant at the age of 5.
On the show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the late 80s.
Not in real life.
Right.
Okay.
No, but
early
the
90s.
actress who portrays her now does have a lot of health issues.
She does, but she didn't have a heart transplant.
But not a heart transplant. Yeah.
Wait a minute. There's been more than one Maxie?
She's been recast, yes.
Yeah, there was a younger Maxie, and then we've had Kirsten Storms for a while, though.
So she wasn't. I'm just trying to. So she wasn't playing it as a younger.
Right. She wasn't playing it as a smaller child.
As a smaller. Okay.
As an older teenager. Faison visits Luke's office and asks when Luke can have the diamonds ready. Luke says maybe September and makes it clear he doesn't trust him. Faison gives Luke a prepayment for diamond smuggling, presses for details, and Luke only says he'll do it by boat. Faison leaves frustrated, giving Luke a European phone number. Luke stores the cash and number in the safe and takes out the 2 skulls from the crypt. In his underground lair, Faison says he arranged for Interpol to capture his voice on tape and hopes Mac is extremely uncomfortable.
Faison visits Helena at Windermere, reminding her that he can come and go easily because he used to live there. He promises to keep her updated, slips out when the nurse enters, then returns once the nurse leaves. He reports a complication. Luke is missing. Faison says he'll improvise, kisses Helena, and leaves. On the docks, Felicia finds Luke skipping rocks. She brings Elliot's passport and pushes the investigation forward. Luke lays out his full theory. Edward killed his father, George, after a disinheritance threat, then eliminated rival Elliot, then returned to Lila for one night before joining the Navy. Felicia hesitates. She can't see Lila and Edward as murderers. They plan another Oyster Bay trip while Faison watches from the shadows. Faison orders 24 white roses delivered to the usual place for Anna Devane. That's nice. Luke is in the park with Laura, Stefan, and Lulu nearby. Luke calls to see Lulu. Faison appears while Luke's on the phone. Faison is pleased their project is moving and gives Luke a folder of needed information, but Luke demands the rest of the payment. Faison says cash. He needles Luke about seeing a sweet little girl at the bar and notes Luke must be proud of his family while watching Felicia and the kids play. Mac warns Laura about Faison, showing his photo. Laura recognizes him as Mr. Gardner, the donor. Mac says Gardner is Faison's fence name in Europe and calls him a psychopath who murdered Mac's brother and sister-in-law. Laura calls information to track him down, confronts Faison on the docks, rips up the donation check, and threatens him if he goes near her children. Felicia and Taggart step in. Taggart humiliates him and says every cop in town is watching. Faison later makes a call about Master Spencer, and we see he has a framed photo of Felicia that he touches. At Windermere, Stefan tells Helena he's now her guardian. Laura says she's leaving town for a month in Leslie's evaluation of North Carolina and wants Stefan. Is it Stefan or Stefan?
Stefan.
Stefan. And wants Stefan
No, you have to say it, Stefan.
I have to say it like that? Okay.
Stefan.
All right, well, let's start this over. Lauren says she's leaving town for a month for Leslie's evaluation of North Carolina and wants Stefan to call her if anything happens with Nicholas. Stefan surprises her by sharing that Nicholas told him he misses Lucky. Faison overhears talk about antidote, realizes what it means, and he tells Helena he's going to find it. Tony urges Stefan to put Helena in a nursing home. Stefan considers options, but decides she'll stay with him. He mentions Switzerland, the location of her cure, within earshot of Faison, who immediately books a flight. In Zurich, Faison poses as a computer repairman. What? Why a computer repairman?
He can do it all.
Yeah, okay.
Con men have to con somehow.
They con the con man. Faison poses as a computer repairman, finds Helena's file, guesses the password, and obtains the formula that can cure or kill her. Well, I guess I just answered my own question right there. He returns and injects Helena's IV with the drug, but she doesn't immediately respond. After Faison leaves, Helena begins to show signs of movement. Felicia tells Luke who Faison really is. Luke flips out. Felicia compares it to how Robert needed help and still died. Faison uses women and family as leverage. Luke says he'll handle it if someone is willing to do what he needs to be done. The story escalates to a silent face-off. Luke turns and sees Faison. Both freeze, staring at each other. That's what I call the General Hospital stare, where they just...
It's the soap opera stare.
It's the soap opera stare, where they just stare at each other, and then you hear the music fade out, and you go to commercial or whatever. Luke confronts Faison on the docks, making it clear he knows his identity and accusing him of killing Robert. Faison demands his diamonds. Luke refuses to deliver to a dead man and threatens him. Luke later admits to Felicia he has $5 million in diamonds, not in his possession, but in a bank in Mexico. Felicia offers to go with him to retrieve them and smuggle them back, calling it another adventure. Luke refuses the idea, turning Faison in for immunity. He wants to eliminate him in his own way. I never knew there was that much heat between Luke and Faison.
Yeah.
He killed his best friend.
No, I mean...
And his son. Well, he doesn't know about the son yet. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you see the storylines with GH here, but I didn't know those two. I should say, I didn't know those two were that involved. Okay,
It
like
wasn't
they had
until
a big
this storyline.
Oh, okay.
And
Like,
because
this
of
was
Helena's involvement.
Yes.
Okay. That
Because
kinda makes
quick
sense.
rundown. Okay, so the Ice Princess is what ran the weather machine that was going to freeze the world. But here's the deal, is that Mikos, Helena's husband, yes,
He's like, no, I can't retain all this. Just stop. I don't know why you don't know all this by now, JD. Come
Ice Princess. Wait a minute.
yes. The Ice
And I-
Princess
and
is
I
a
know-
diamond
and I
that
know-
was
hold
running
on.
the weather machine that was going to alter the world's
on.
weather.
So okay. All right. I should know better than
Hold on.
to ask.
Hold on. Well, here's the, just in case
That's
anyone
right,
else
audience.
does not know here's the quick rundown on why. So Luke and Laura wanted to save the world. And so they went to stop Mikos, and that's Helena's husband, from, changing the weather across the world. And Mikos was trying to lock them in a cryogenic chamber, right? It was like a cryogenic chamber. However, Mikos accidentally went in it and he froze himself to death. Luke was actually trying to save him. He actually was. Except for he didn't know he didn't know Mikos and Helena's wedding anniversary, and that was the code. And so Mikos died, and so now Helena hates Luke because she thinks that Luke killed Mikos. Mikos did it to himself.
So was this like a low point in the soap opera world that they had to create a
No.
machine to try to freeze the world?
No,
like that just seems I mean, even for soap opera universe, that seems a little far fetched.
no.
You didn't think the alien was far fetched, but you think the weather machine.
No, I didn't say the alien wasn't far fetched. I just didn't say that. I'm just like, what GH? Of course, there's aliens. Okay, what a soap operas? Of course, there's aliens. If people can die 4 or 5 times and come back, why not? Let's have aliens. But this is just something else. I'm like, wait a minute. Where did a machine that wanted to freeze the world and destroy the world come from?
Because
Of course.
Mikos wanted to own the world, and so he wanted to control the world, and so he made that.
Okay.
Like, Luke and Laura saved the world, okay?
Okay. Now I just lost where I was.
You asked.
For
But
real.
but why did
Mexico,
Faison and
okay.
Helena hook up, though? I forget why Faison and... Was it just to go after Luke?
I think so.
Okay.
Because he didn't like Luke.
Right.
Because
Right.
he wanted all the Ice Princess diamond.
How big is this diamond?
Oh, it
Not
was
very
huge.
big. Oh,
It was originally.
Oh, wait a minute. You saying it's huge?
it's comparable to the Hope Diamond. It's comparable to the Hope Diamond.
It was huge, but then every time that Luke sold a piece off, it obviously got smaller. So it's not large now.
But okay, I'm not even gonna.
We did an entire series on the Ice Princess as well.
So was this diamond like something they needed for this machine to work?
Yes.
Was it like a Mr. Freeze type thing? I need the diamond to freeze the world.
Yes,
To
let's
shoot
just say
my
that
ra-
Mr. Freeze got the idea from General Hospital.
Faison threatens Luke, hinting he has something Luke treasured, and later it's revealed why Luke thinks he has leverage. Faison has Spencer's son. In the park, Luke reunites with Laura and Lulu. There's charged tension between Luke and Laura until Luke spots Faison nearby. Faison waves at Lulu. Luke sharply pulls Lulu hands down, then threatens Faison. Laura notes Luke is hard to reach. Luke gives her a new cell number and says he's leaving again tomorrow for about a week. They trade sincere, breathy pleasantries and a loaded compliment. Laura looks beautiful before Luke breaks the tension by scooping up Lulu again. Luke ends his business partnership with Sonny, signing papers and trading resigned goodbyes. Sonny warns that Mac is asking about Faison and offers to still watch Luke's back if needed. Felicia says goodbye to Mac at the airport. guilt eating her alive because he's being so supportive. Luke slips in beside her and, seeing how torn she is, offers to call off the trip. Felicia won't let him. She insists she's doing this for Mac because Faison has him on the edge, and one more push could change him forever. Luke lays out his strategy. Phase 1 is getting the diamonds back. The rest will reveal itself. Felicia sharpens it. They want to film the trap. Make Faison feel what it is like to have no control. Luke grins at her new edge and admits they are both lethal when people they love are threatened. At the airport, Luke hands Felicia her fake passport and ID. Their cover is married, while Faison watches them board the plane.
Felicia's also a long-lost Aztec princess.
What?
Well, not long-lost.
Where are Aztec princesses coming from now?
That's a whole other 411. Remember the 411 that Amanda and I drank a lot of margaritas?
Oh, that one. Okay. Audience, yes, I do remember that one. That one was... weren't you guys floating in the pool for that one?
No.
No? Okay, that wasn't that one.
No. Recording and drinking margaritas and floating in the pool, that's just like danger.
I misspoke. Poolside.
No.
Because I know there was one you did by the pool.
We just did we just did the awards thing, poolside.
So now we got aliens, ice princesses that have machines that want to destroy the world by freezing it, and Aztec princesses.
Yes. All involved in this. Yes.
Oh, Lord.
In the desert heat, Luke tries to teach Felicia to shoot. She casually fires twice, killing a rattlesnake, then admits her grandmother taught her how to take care of herself. They build a signal fire for Felicia's old contact, Travis. She opens up about her life, Mac, girls, the PTA normalcy, and Luke clocks what she's trying to say. The wild child never left. Felicia wonders if they'd even be friends without Faison. Luke, you mean we aren't real? And they kiss. The bird call answers. Felicia calls for Travis. It's Faison. Faison steps out of the shadows, mocking them, and immediately turns lethal, gun up with a cold smile. He claims it's not a robbery because the diamonds are his. Luke stalls, a glitch getting them out of Europe, but they're safe. Faison doesn't believe Mexico has nothing to do with the diamonds. Felicia tries the book research cover. It doesn't land. Faison grabs her, gun to her head, forces Luke's hand. Luke hands over the diamonds, then Faison thanks him by striking Felicia in the back with a precise blow. She collapses, screams and sobs that she can't feel her legs. Luke's panic is immediate, but he refuses to drag her across the desert chasing a maniac. Then Luke calmly drops a twist. He gave Faison fakes, cubic zirconias. Felicia is stunned. They looked real. Luke produces the real bag and calls her his best friend/partner. Now the dynamic has flipped. Faison thinks Luke has no leverage, but Faison just showed Luke exactly where the pressure points are. Luke says they can't beat Faison at his game, so they'll make him play theirs. Back in Port Charles, Luke and Felicia regroup at the club over cheese fries. Felicia warns Luke he can't hide the diamonds in his safe. Faison will look there first. Luke decides on the coffee warehouse. In a small, intimate beat, Luke wipes cheese off Felicia's face and almost kisses her again, but she stops to call Mac. Mac is missing, and no one knows where he is. Felicia spirals. Luke tries to steady her. If Mac followed Faison, he's behind by hours, not days. He offered to take her home, and she refuses, insisting that she'll take a cab. Faison elsewhere tries to sell the diamonds and realizes they're fake. He explodes. Darn you, Spencer! Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Damn you, Spencer.
Now you just sound like
Arnold. That's more like Arnold. That's not right. Damn you, Spencer.
At Luke's, the Faison problem escalates again. Luke breaks into Faison's office, hears him on the call about Lucky, and sees how deep the obsession runs. Luke finally snaps, grabs Faison, and chokes him unconscious. Later, Faison shows up at Luke's with a gun and forces him towards the diamonds, until Roy appears out of nowhere and knocks Faison out cold. Luke turns, stunned, because Roy has been dead for 20 years.
Wait a minute. Am I missing who Roy is?
He's Bobby's ex-love.
Bobby.
But he was like buddies with... Bobby is Luke's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Roy's just kind of popping in right now.
No, I'm just... It's a name I didn't recognize.
No, right. And I mean, he comes in, but he's like Luke's old buddy who fell in love with Bobby. But also, this Roy is a recast from the original Roy.
And he had been dead for 20 years. So you wouldn't recognize.
He's been dead.
Right. At this
quote
point.
unquote dead. Okay.
Yes.
Fake dead. All right.
Right.
I can't be the only one who was wondering who Roy was.
No, you're not.
Okay.
That was a good question. Roy convinces him it's real. They hug. They toss Faison in the trunk and drive to Lookout Point like the old times. Luke's in a dark mood and jokes about a hanging. In the end, they don't kill Faison. They dump him, strip him of his shoes and wallet, and Roy drives off in Luke's caddy.
That's terrible. Sorry.
Roy and Laura cross paths at Kelly's, and she apologizes for throwing Luke's keys years ago, which led to Roy taking the fall. Roy tells her he never blamed her. Meanwhile, Luke fills Felicia in on Roy's history. Their conversation drifts towards their own relationship and nearly turns serious until Faison barges in, furious about being dumped off a cliff and stripped of his shoes. He demands the diamonds. After he leaves, Luke and Felicia share a charged kiss and then pull back. She loves Mac. Roy walks in mid-embrace and smirks that he hasn't missed much. Faison corners Felicia alone at Luke's, terrorizes her, kisses her against her will, and leaves her shaken. Luke vows they should call Mac, and Felicia refuses, insisting that's exactly what Faison wants. Later, Helena and Faison clash. He threatens to keep Lucky for himself, revealing that Lucky is still alive. Faison kidnaps Felicia again, holding her in a white staged room. He forces Luke into a twisted rescue game. Luke and Roy trace him through Diamond Buyer, planting a tracking device, and follow the signal, only to be misled. Felicia attempts to fight back with broken glass, but cannot kill Faison. Luke finally tracks her down, but Mac storms in and arrests Luke for tampering. Ultimately, Mac releases him, and Luke continues the hunt. In the confrontation, Felicia throws herself in front of Luke as Faison fires, taking a bullet to the shoulder. Mac subdues and arrests Faison. Hidden camera rewinds, revealing the entire deal was recorded. Afterward, Felicia struggles with guilt over her feelings for Luke. Faison sends Mac a videotape of Luke and Felicia kissing. Mac watches it. Felicia visits Faison in jail, and he taunts her about Mac discovering the truth. Mac questions Luke, then Felicia, pressing for every detail of her captivity and why Luke, not Mac, was at the center of Faison's obsession. Helena, meanwhile, manipulates evidence to frame Faison for Catherine's murder, then privately admits she killed Catherine and intends to pin it on him. Faison threatens to expose Lucky's survival if she doesn't help him escape. Faison ultimately escapes custody, and Helena plans to eliminate him once he's served his purpose. Helena visits Faison as he prepares to leave town. Their exchange is laced with veiled threats and cold affection. He is clearly irritated by her latest maneuvering and mutters after she leaves that he isn't finished with her. Mac brings Felicia in for questioning. Mac brings Helena in for questioning and pressures her to reveal Faison's location, even offering to reduce her charges in Catherine's death. Dara shuts that down immediately. She's a police detective and states that Mac has no authority to make such a deal, and Helena is released. No, sorry, she was the DA. Sorry. That's why Mac doesn't have the right to make that deal. Moments later, Mac gets word that Faison has been spotted and races out. Roy and Luke discuss the situation with Felicia and the videotape, but their conversation is interrupted when Faison calls Luke and demands a meeting. Luke insists on going alone. At Pier 39, Faison attempts to flee by boat. Luke confronts him, and Faison delivers the bombshell. Lucky is alive. Before he can say more, Mac arrives and gunfire erupts. Luke tries to stop Mac from killing Faison, and during the struggle, Faison escapes in the boat. It explodes offshore. Neither Luke nor Mac see it happen, and Mac calls for search and rescue while Luke stands stunned. When Mac questions why Luke was there, Luke says Faison contacted him and urges that Faison was more useful alive. They clash, and Mac accuses Luke of helping him escape. Luke storms off. On the docks, Laura reunites with Stefan and tells him that she loves him and wants a fresh start, and though she cannot promise forever. That is kind of a really crummy way of telling someone you love them.
Right? For now. I love you for now, but that may change, just
Right.
so you know.
Okay.
What, babe?
Nothing. It makes sense in soap opera universe, so.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
As they kiss, Luke passes and informs them that Faison is dead.
Moment of silence.
Later, Dara drops the case against Helena, citing reasonable doubt now that Faison had access to the wig used in Catherine's murder. Luke sneaks onto Helena's yacht and confronts her, demanding to know her connection to Faison. She claims that she merely bought jewels from him. When Luke tells her that Faison is dead, she denies involvement and says she survived the ordeal with him. The word lucky catches Luke's attention, but he leaves. Back at the club, Luke confesses to Roy that he would do anything to get his son back. He reveals what Faison said and admits he had begun to accept Lucky's death until now. He decides to go to Amsterdam and retrace Faison's steps without telling Laura until he knows the truth. Felicia learns that Luke is leaving for Europe. They discuss Faison and Helena, share a restrained goodbye kiss, and Luke assures her Faison never mentioned the videotape. Luke later tells Laura that he is leaving town to handle something important but gives no details. Stefan confirms Helena's charges have been dropped and fears that Laura may be her next target. Helena and Stefan continue trading threats, and Stefan later asks Alexis for help unraveling Helena's plans, but she keeps her distance. Helena instructs Andreas to move Lucky and eliminate Alexis, believing that Alexis knows too much. Andreas hesitates, but Helena insists that they act quickly because Lucky will soon be relocated. Meanwhile, Luke returns from Europe disappointed, and he found Faison's contacts and a chalet, but no proof that Lucky is alive. He tells Roy that Lucky's body had only been identified by a coin and wonders if Faison planted it. He cannot shake the feeling that his son may be alive, but refuses to tell Laura, believing she isn't strong enough to handle the possibility. Felicia eagerly greets Luke at the club, and he admits that he had a hunch Lucky is alive and recounts everything Faison said before the explosion. Felicia suggests involving Mac and reviewing the original fire investigation, but Luke refuses. He insists on handling it alone and keeping Laura in the dark. Felicia makes it clear that he won't be alone, and she intends to help him. Luke tells her she should explain that to her husband. Mac is Felicia's husband. Stefan visited Luke to discuss the possibility that Helena's connections to Faison ran deeper than the police believed. Though the authorities were satisfied that Faison had murdered Catherine, Stefan disagreed. He argued that Helena would not need someone like Faison to carry out a killing she could accomplish herself, and that Faison would not risk exposure for something so minor unless there were another objective. He feared Helena might again be targeting Laura. Luke offered no help. After Stefan left, he reasoned that the fire that supposedly killed Lucky had happened before he stole Faison's diamonds, giving Faison no motive to fake Lucky's death for leverage. However, Helena had every reason. Luke wondered if Faison had been trying to say that Helena had Lucky.
Good job, Luke. Finally trying to put it together.
And I just added a footnote. We mentioned it earlier, but Finola Hughes, she had come back from the dead, but she had left in 1995, and that's why there is no Anna in this return of Faison.
I was wondering why that hasn't been really hasn't been noted or mentioned.
Yeah, because until this point, we just think Faison has a thing for Anna, and that's his whole comeback. But yeah, so that was it for Faison's return in 1999 to 2000-ish.
He accomplished a lot in that small amount of time that JD is now going to try to defend.
I didn't say I was going to try to defend it. No, okay. So he's the bad guy. He's a criminal. He's a crook. Okay. The reason I like him is your audience probably knows I'm a big wrestling fan, right? You always like a good bad guy. You got to have someone to boo. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And he makes the perfect heel, so to speak, in wrestling terms. All right. But that's the fascination with him so much. You know, he's so bad that he's cool, but I'm able to know it's just a TV show. It's just a character he's playing.
Thank God.
Okay.
I would hope so.
Okay, like, yes, I know he's not like that. He's probably a really nice person. What's his real name? I don't remember his real name.
Anders Hove.
Anders Hove. I keep wanting to say like Andreas Hove or something
or
like that.
Anders Hoves. I always put the S on the wrong thing, and now I always double check
but
it.
But no, we know who you're talking about. No, I know he's not actually like this, but it's the character. You need a good person to go against. He's so bad that he's cool. All right.
I just like listening to you try to defend the undefendable. Like you could have said about last
I'll still
week,
defend him.
It was all about Anna, but like we just pointed out, Anna wasn't even around for this last year and a half.
Yeah.
And he's doing horrible things. So
I'll still defend him because, you know, he was given a bad rap. You know, you have to look at his childhood. I said that earlier in the program. You know, how do we know his childhood wasn't horrible and that's what made him the way it is? Wasn't his problem. Wasn't his fault.
He does have a swagger to him.
He does. No, there's something. What's the word I'm looking at? This might not be the right word. Debonair. Okay. There's something about him that's.
He's cultured. He's worldly.
Yes. There's something that draws you to him. You don't know what it is, but that's the way I am. You don't know what it is, but you're like something cool here. that's going on.
I mean, it's the same thing. We love Helena.
Yeah.
Right.
But I look at it as I know it's a TV show.
Yeah.
So you could like who you want. You could think you think this person's cool. Someone else might not,
Yep.
But I will always defend César Faison. So.
And now he has a theme song. So.
Yeah, exactly.
César Faison is
for next time.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, what we just read here, I mean, he did some pretty horrible things. I'll admit that. He's shooting people, he's kidnapping them, he's over diamonds,
Yeah, and we still have, so the next installment of Faison will be...
But if they would have just let him do what he wanted to do, this would have never happened. Just let him get his diamonds, let him run his business and get out of town. You probably never heard of him again,
Sure.
Think of it as like Rambo. All he wanted to do was come in and get something to eat, and he would have been gone, never seen him again, right? If for those of you who've seen Rambo.
I was literally thinking that at the end of last week's episode, when I was re-listening to it, there was something that you said, and I was like, shoot, I should have been like, because the first time I saw Rambo, I went, if they had just given him a cheeseburger, this would have been fine.
Okay,
like,
for those of you
that know, happened.
I'm not
the
getting
first
into
thing
it.
I said. No, the first thing I said, I was like, I was expecting that tank to go through a McDonald's drive-through.
Okay, hold on, Champ. I'm not getting into this, but for those who've ever seen the first Rambo, all he wanted was something to eat, and he would have been on his way. Okay, if they would have just let Cesar do what he wanted to do, whether it was good or bad, then he would have got done, and then he would have probably left Port Charles, and you would have never heard from him again.
But he wanted Anna.
Well, then Anna was probably going to go with him. So somehow Anna was going to go with him. So
all right.
Yeah.
So the next installment of Faison will be 2012. And this actually is where it gets pretty meaty. And I feel like this was perhaps the first real storyline that at least I remember, because this is when we got Britt and Obrecht and...
Well, right. That's where I discovered, you just happened to be watching it, and I was in the same room, and I just went, who's that guy? And that's who I learned, this is the time now, who I learned who Cesar was.
Yep.
Right? Because there was the, hello, Anna, time,
just looking ahead at the pictures, remember in the first episode we joked about, was that the first episode of this, or was that in the recap that we mentioned Beetlejuice? It was the recap. It was the recap because we talked about the hair, and then we likened, JD, because we realized he has like the crazy hair. Yeah. And there was something about Beetlejuice. He dressed like Beetlejuice in one of the episodes, like in a Halloween episode. But then we also likened it to Doc Brown. So do you somehow correlate Faison with your dad?
For those of you who don't know, my dad looks exactly like Doc Brown. Okay. Even when I was a kid back in the 80s, people would walk up to him and say, do you know you look like that guy from Back to the Future? Or they would ask him, are you the guy from Back to the Future? And Shan, since now he's your father-in-law, will even tell you, like, I've always said, you would have thought Christopher Lloyd followed my dad around.
Right.
Because the way they dress, the mannerisms, facial expressions were exactly the same. But to answer your question, I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Because your dad's cool.
Yeah, he looks like Doc Brown.
Right. Who then also has the same hair as Faison. So are we walking this back?
Yes. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So Faison reminds you of your dad. Okay.
I didn't say that. You said that. He has the weird, wacky hair, though,
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, that's it for Faison this week. I guess we'll see if he's mentioned this week, if he's back on screen this week. It's February 2026. Who knows? But join us on Monday as we recap this week's shows.
Have a good weekend.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
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 If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at pier54podcast@gmail.com.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.